In episode 8, Marty goes to check up on his therapist, but after snooping around, quickly realizes that she's been killed. He lets Wendy know, who is dropping off Charlotte and Jonah for community service, and Helen is also dropping off Aaron for community service. Wendy tells Helen, "We had that under control, you didn't need to kill her," but Helen says, "No, you didn't. She's driving a gaudy McLaren, bringing attention to herself. And this launch party tonight for your new foundation better yield some results." Marty, however, heads to the casino, and he's continuing to try to feel out Maya as an informant. He gives her even more information on another case that she could use. But Maya says, "I told you this isn't how it works. You're literally asking me to do everything that's against my core." Marty begs her to take the information, but she's just unwilling to do it, and they both understand that the FBI is going to get that information one way or another. And when the senator that Wendy was talking to stops by before the party, Wendy slips him this new information, saying, "Yeah, we tried to give it to an FBI agent, but she basically told us to piss off." Knowing that putting bad guys in jail is pretty good for his political future, he takes the information and then asks, "Hey, what was that agent's name, by the way?" He gives the information to her superior and also gives the superior her name. And when Maya meets with her boss yells at her for not taking the information and tells her that as soon as the warrant is over, she's being taken out on the field and being put back on desk duty. And she is pissed off about that. This also just so happens to be Ruth Langmore's first day back on the job, and she is dropped off by Ben, who immediately heads to Kansas City to try to get a meeting with Frank Cosgrove Jr. And he's been doing this a lot lately, but they've been blowing him off every single time. He's pissed off and heads to a bar and starts drinking, and because he's not on his meds, he picks a fight with a guy over a tie. He gets arrested and tells the police that Helen Pierce is the family lawyer. And that doesn't sit too well with Helen. She calls Wendy Bird in the middle of the night, and Wendy assures her that she'll handle it, but they both let Ben sit in jail for the night. Eventually, he's picked up by Ruth, and he's still fuming. He can't believe how soft Wendy got after she married Marty, because something should have been done about Frank Cosgrove Jr. Ruth tells him that Wendy isn't soft and lets him know that she's done things before, she just didn't feel like doing anything this time. But even after being pressed, she won't tell Ben what those things were. The Birds now have to figure out what to do about Ben, and Marty's plan is to put him in a mental institution, a private one, a nice one, but Wendy is against it. They did it 10 years ago, and it did a number on him, and she says if you put him in a thing like that again, it's going to kill him. They start to bicker about it, but Wendy tells him, "I'm handling this situation, not you." So Wendy heads over to talk to Ben, and he confronts her about why she did so little to help Ruth out. Finally, she just says, "How much money is it going to take for you to leave and start a new life someplace else?" But Ben's not leaving. He plans on starting a life there. So Wendy heads over to the Missouri Belle for the cocktail hour of the party, and she notices that there's a heated conversation going on between Marty and Agent Miller. She heads over and asks Marty, "What was that all about?" And Marty says, "We went too far. She's being taken off this case." And that's not at all what the Birds wanted. Wendy tells him that we have to get her job back. The party gets kicked off, and the senator takes the stage and is addressing the crowd, and as he's doing so, Ben storms in out of nowhere and starts making a scene, getting in an argument with Wendy. He wants to know what happened to Marty's business partner, what happened to Ruth's father, and the more she tries to calm him down, the more pissed off he gets. When Marty also tries to calm him down, he ends up punching Marty and dragged out of there by security. After the party, the Birds head over to the police station, where the police have given them two options. He's either going to jail or he's going to a state-run psychiatric facility. Wendy reluctantly agrees, but she starts to break down when she hears Ben's reaction to learning where he's going. The next day, Wendy and Ruth head over to the psychiatric facility to give him some of the things, but he doesn't want to see Wendy at all. He's only willing to see Ruth. And he just can't figure out what he did to deserve to be in here. What did he say that wasn't true? He tells Ruth that he figured it out. They killed an FBI agent, they killed your dad, and Ruth sheepishly admits that, yeah, well, they did kill my dad. Ruth just asks, "How can I help you?" And he says, "Get me out of here." When she returns home, she's talking to Wyatt about how she needs to help get him out of that place. And Wyatt says maybe Darlene can help. So Darlene heads over to the sheriff's office and starts bullying him, saying, "You got to get that guy out of that place." And the sheriff comes through. Ben is released. And when the Birds find out, they're floored. They have no idea where he's going, so Wendy heads over to Ruth's place, and Marty heads to the house. But he's not going to either of those places. He's heading to Helen Pierce's place. He comes barging in there, screaming about what Helen Pierce actually does for a living. And he's doing all of this in front of her daughter. In fact, he's actually directing this at her daughter, letting her daughter know exactly who her mother is. He lets every little detail out of the bag, and then finally he leaves. Erin asks her mom, what was he talking about? But Helen just says, nothing. He's a very sick man. But she is pissed. And this is a big problem because Helen Pierce was already on edge. And she actually contacted Navarro earlier that day saying maybe the Birds weren't the right people to partner with. They're having trouble laundering money. They haven't flipped the agent. And the event went horribly wrong. And Navarro tells her, do what you need to do. Thank you so much for watching this recap of Ozark, not Ozarks. People get really upset when you put the S on it. If you don't see the next video up in the corner there on the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up shortly. Please consider subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and there's a share button for a reason.